when Charlie Kirk talks about Zohran Mamdani, he calls him an illegal foreigner who will never be American. He says that black and brown people poison America and they will make our culture collapse, whether they are legally here or illegally here. So the mask is coming off of Charlie Kirk. He blamed that flood in Texas on a black fire chief from like 2 hours away in Austin. He said the fire chief, it was his fault somehow. So these are white supremacists. So Charlie Kirk is probably going to say something like that.
A Democrat Senate candidate in Michigan tying himself to New York City's socialist candidate, Zohran Mamdani, with a Facebook ad that reads, Zohran won, Abdul is next. Meanwhile...
Bro, that sounds like a conservative nightmare, bro. Zohran won, Abdul is next. Every conservative in America, like, they wake up in the middle of the night sweating when they hear those names. Holy crap.
Mamdani landing the endorsement of a top Cuomo backer.
Barack Hussein.
By Donald Trump and the Republicans. So we have no choice but to come together. The people have spoken. So if for me it is a privilege and an honor to be here and support Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani for mayor of the city of New York. And we need him.
Influence
Joining
works.
me to discuss is Charlie
Influence
Kirk, founder
works.
of
People
Turning
power
Point
does work.
USA. So great to see you this morning, Charlie.
You just got to show
Thanks
up.
for joining us.
Good morning.
Yeah, before we get to the whole situation in New York, I wanted to focus a little bit on the Michigan situation where, you have a state that has been sort of, we kind of talk about it as a swing state, but it's actually been a Democrat state for many, many, many years until Donald Trump came along and turned it into a swing state and has successfully twice turned it into a Trump state. And you have Republicans sort of trying to talk about common sense issues, and you have Democrats now completely running off with the circus of socialism. How's that going to work out?
Well, that's right. Yeah, and remember, President Trump won the youth vote in the state of Michigan this last November, which was a victory heard around the world. The Mamdani effect is going to metastasize in the Democrat Party. Now, how successful it will be in a general election, I don't know. I still have my skepticism. But the Mamdani effect is grievance-based politics, playing into people's bitterness, and also playing into the economic disorder that
I would
Biden
never,
left us. Now, President
I would never imagine someone leading into bitterness as their political model. Holy crap. But also, Mamdani talking about people coming together to build is the same thing Bernie Sanders said, not me, us, okay? The Bernie thing, the Democratic Socialist thing, George Orwell was a Democratic Socialist, so was Albert Einstein, by the way, just for people who are stupid. The whole not me, us is a reversal of Trump, which is not us, me. Just think about that political model.
Trump is going to fix this, and he is aiming to fix this. But understand, for the younger voters that I represent and the younger voters that delivered the White House for President Trump, they can't afford homes. They're increasingly renting. They're not getting married. They're not having children. So there's two ways this can go. An optimistic, patriotic vision like President Trump is offering, or a very dark and sinister vision, one that is anti-Western, anti-American, anti-civilization, which you're seeing from Abdul.
Anti-Western, anti-American, anti-civilization. Ooh, a lot of dog whistles there.
And Zohran Mamdani. We saw a little bit this from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe this effect will only continue in the Democrat Party for years to come.
So, of course, obviously, you have devoted your life to talking to young people, and we're reminded.
Oh, yeah, he has. All the Republicans do that now, after Trump and Epstein.
Going to Abdul El Sayed in Michigan, one of the things that this is what he told Newsweek back in July 8th. If President Trump is bringing hate, we bring love. He's bringing more pain, we're bringing healing. If he's bringing that danger and insecurity, we're bringing a kind of empathy and a kind of understanding. Socialism, and this is the frustration, and this is where I think what your work is so important. Young people don't understand that that's not what socialism is. Socialism is a brutal, brutal regime for which 100 million people around the world over the past 100 years have died.
Well, that's right. And that kind of radical vision, or even lack thereof, because it doesn't take much talent to say that, is rooted when people do not own stuff. And this is the greatest crisis that is facing us. We need to have a national project, and I believe President Trump will be able to accomplish this.
The big thing here, the word socialism is always used as a scary dog whistle. Now, Donald Trump is cutting taxes for the wealthy, cutting taxes for BlackRock, which Charlie Kirk talks about a lot. He's the best friend of BlackRock, and Charlie Kirk never criticizes Trump for it because Charlie Kirk's a little cuckboy. But yeah, like Donald Trump is cutting taxes for the wealthy and cutting Medicaid, cutting food assistance, cutting our programs that help to save little kids from dying in Africa. Like they're cutting all these programs. They're cutting 80,000 workers from the VA, and they're going to use it all to pay for tax cuts for the wealthy, cutting National Weather Service, cutting Alzheimer's research, cutting cancer research. It is not the America First Party. It really is not. I mean, even saying America First is a interesting slogan because they hate America, and Trump is a Maoist, and he believes that tariffs and nationalizing companies is the best thing. He's a corporatist fascist by definition, like Mussolini.
How do we get more young people under the age of 35 to have equity in the system?
Yes.
Not the Democrat version of equity where they want to have redistribution, but actually, are they paying a mortgage? Do they own stuff? Or are they permanent renters? A permanent renting class in this country is the prerequisite, is the leading ingredient for radical politics that nobody wants to see. We need to reinvigorate the ownership economy. And then all of a sudden, when you own stuff, you're less likely to burn down a Wendy's and vote for candidates like ZOHRAN Mamdani.
Indeed. And of course,
Is that why Donald Trump is giving more power to corporate mergers and monopolies than any president in American history? Because he wants more people to own things, or does he want more? Does he want one mega corporation that donated money to him? All the corporations that pay him off can become huge owners of all of everything. Give all of our data to Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Palantir and AI. Is that going to give us more ownership?
we're seeing in Michigan is going to be a problem for Democrats throughout. DNC Chair
Someone said BlackRock is leftist. Holy shit. Brain dead, brain
Ken
dead,
Martin
brain dead.
had this to say about Mamdani.
What about concerns from some of your Jewish colleagues in particular about him not outright condemning the phrase globalize the intifada in a recent interview? Some of your Jewish colleagues have said that that could be very disturbing, potentially dangerous. Do you agree with that?
You know, there's no candidate in this party that I agree 100% of the time with, to be honest with you. There's things that I don't agree with Mamdani that he said. But at the end of the day, I always believe, as a Democratic Party chair in Minnesota for the last 14 years, and now the chair of the DNC, that you win through addition. We are a big tent party. Yes, it leads to dissent and debate, and there's differences of opinions on a whole host of issues.
So this is just a Big Tent party.
Well, I have two immediate thoughts on that. Number one, he being from Minnesota, he knows exactly how to say nothing while saying a lot of words because he's had to try to defend Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellison. He knows how to defend the anti-civilizational forces in the Democrat Party. But number two, and this is the most important thing for the audience to internalize, you might think the Democrats are going to moderate. You might think that, oh, you know, I want to Gavin Newsom show and he's going to move to the middle. No, 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 no. The rise of Mamdani and that ridiculous statement from Ken Martin shows the canary in the coal mine is the Democrats are going to double and triple down on an anti-civilizational agenda. They are going...
When he says anti-civilizational, he's saying anti-white American. He's saying anti-white. This is the neo-Nazi talking point, 100%. You would never say anti-civilizational. If you care about America, you talk about things like giving healthcare to veterans, healthcare to kids. You want to talk about jobs. You talk about making America better through industry and through manufacturing and through actual programs. Now, Charlie Kirk here talks about civilization collapsing, and he talks about a bunch of all these dog whistles because he does not give a shit about America. He gives a shit about authoritarianism. Whenever he says anti-civilization and he brings up only brown politicians, there is a reason he does that. It's very intentional. When he blames the Texas floods on a black fire chief from 2 hours away, when he blames plane crashes on DEI, when he blames black people for every problem in America, black and brown people, when he says that legal immigrants need to be kicked out and denaturalized and deported and jailed for being black and brown. All right, when he says those things, you should listen to him. He is a neo-Nazi. He is explicitly a neo-Nazi. He believes all the same shit. He just says it in prettier language with better dog whistles.
To go more in the encampment direction that we saw at Columbia University and Harvard University, which should be, for everybody in the audience, a chilling alternative if we do not maintain Republican majorities and win.
Like during Vietnam protests, like people like him and all the Trump supporters would have been happy they gunned down students during Vietnam protests at like Kent State, for example. How gullible they are is kind of wild. Like, you don't like any anti-war movement. You're not anti-war. Every time there's an anti-war movement, you want to put them in jail. Like, you just are pro whatever your daddy tells you to believe in.
Future, the Democrats, they're going to offer stuff that we have not seen in this country ever.
Right. And it's a reminder that we need to teach young people
Turning Point
the
brown
truth.
shirts.
And
True.
you're doing that. Turning Point Student Action Summit kicks off today.
Great replacement
explain the summit to us and give us some hope.
Kent State.
Well, there's a lot of hope. We'll have 7,000 students here in Tampa, Florida. First and foremost, celebrating that we kind of accomplished what we set out to do 13 years ago.
Kent State was 1970. At Kent State University, the National Guard of Ohio fired on unarmed student protesters, killing 4, wounding 9. I looked it up on Google because I forgot the exact numbers. But yeah, it was a student protest. The National Guard was policing it. And these are the dangers of sending in the military and even the National Guard into American streets. But at the time, Americans were pro-Vietnam. You know, Americans were very pro-Vietnam for a long time. We were there for a decent amount of time. Same thing with the Middle East and Afghanistan and Iraq, and same thing with Iran right now. Everyone sours eventually. But yeah, look up Kent State. There's a few other shootings at different campuses. But students were always protesting to be anti-war, and they're left-wingers. The left-wingers were always anti-war. The right-wingers were always pro-war. They pretended to be anti-war. They always pretend to be, but they never are.
President Trump won the youth vote back in November. The younger generation.
Oh, I thought you were asking what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. At least the youngins in chat now know what Kent State is.
Delivered the White House for President Trump. So we're celebrating that. But also, the work is not done. We have a mandate to fulfill. We have a lot of work to do. We have to try to create this vanguard against the rise of Mamdaniism, as we are seeing in this country.
Mamdaniism,
because
dude.
These 7,000 students here in
His
Tampa
name is Mamdani.
for this weekend. We
He's
have Pete Hegseth,
Italian.
and we have Christy Nome, and we have Greg Gutfeld. We have amazing speakers over here. Laura Ingraham. This remnant that we are
Laura
building
Ingraham.
with younger
Oh, my
voters is one
goodness.
of the
I'm so
most important
excited.
generational investments. Because, you know, we could talk about one big, beautiful bill and all the stuff on Capitol Hill, but what happens on college campuses does
Imagine being
stay
a
on college campuses. It will grow into corporate life. It will grow into the halls of Congress.
Now, Charlie Kirk is correct. His movement on college campuses is very dangerous and very huge. Democrats are pathetic in response to it. It's kind of scary. It is scary. Look at Oklahoma right now. They have PragerU as an actual like source for most of their educational materials in high school. They're having a complete Christian nationalist education, and kids are born without any information. So if you want to convince them the 2020 election was stolen and all this crazy shit, you can convince them. Obviously, they're kids. They don't know any better. It's not their fault. But we're going to have a lot of kids growing up who believe shit that's a completely different reality. Completely different reality. That's why they're so anti-public schooling, by the way. The big thing about public schooling is it makes you interact with other people from other backgrounds. And if you're a very fundamentalist, like Christian, for example, you probably do not want your kid interacting with others from other backgrounds and belief systems because they can be corrupted, right? Be corrupted and stop believing everything you told your kid. They want control over the kids and their brains.
And what Turning Point USA is doing here this weekend in Tampa, Florida, I believe will help make sure America remains free and strong for generations to come.
Obviously, President Trump has succeeded at reaching a lot of young people. Do you feel like you're having success getting Republicans or conservatives to recognize how important it is to talk about those issues like you were just talking about the fact that we can't have a permanent rental class and how incredible...
Wait a second. Okay, so Charlie Kirk talked about like housing and stuff. We know Trump's not helping with anything, but then most of the conversation was about like anti-Western civilization. Like anti-Western civilization. Like, I need to make sure we have a good response to these dog whistles that don't sound super beta, because obviously it's going to keep on being brought up. They're going to keep on attacking immigrants and wanting ethnic cleansing in America. So that's going to be scary. It's going to keep on happening. But how do we respond very effectively to this? Probably like Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, and Theo Vaughn, and whatever else. Like all these podcasters are going to be moved pretty easily. But we need something to pound at home.
Incredibly difficult it is for a 23-year-old to even think about buying a house.
Yeah. It's so important. And President Trump understands.
Their answer, by the way, to the housing problem is kick all the black and brown people out of America. Therefore, there'll be so much housing for us. Now, the truth is, immigration makes things cheaper in America. It makes wages go up. Immigrants in general are a huge benefit to America. Even in the most self-serving way. Let's say you think immigrants are disgusting people. Like, immigrants help America. And then immigrants are pretty awesome on top of that. So anyone who's anti-immigrant is not only a hateful dumbass, they're also very stupid and dumb combined.
This is why he won the youth vote in so many states like Michigan, because it's an ongoing, let's say, a journey. Because some Republicans say, look, all we have to do is just cut tax cuts on the corporate side. Guys, no, you have to think more creatively. If you do not have a generation that owns stuff, it's not the same economic model of the 70s and 80s. We've printed trillions of dollars. We're trillions of dollars in debt. Biden let 20 million people illegally into this country. We have to say that there's a new social compact, which is if you have a 28-year-old who has $100,000 in student loan debt because they have a sociology degrry, right, and they cannot afford a home in the big 10 biggest cities in America, well, then we are failing that next generation. And that's why President Trump won this demographic, because he promised them he'll deliver for them. And I hope. And
like student loan debt, I know conservatives don't think sociology and planning your society and economy matter much because they don't have, those things we think with. Student loan debt should not be a thing. It really should not be a thing. In a nation that wants to be the best nation of all time, you do not want people to have to take out risky investments for themselves. Like if you think about student loans, let's say you're going to medical school, like you are taking out so much money in debt, in loans, and you need to bet on yourself to work hard and pay off those loans. And you can say there's a financial payoff at the end, but really you're giving a huge benefit to society becoming a doctor. And there's no reason we should have any debt at all for medical school. And paying for that would be like 1/2 the budget of ICE right now. And that would make America amazing. Having more doctors, having less medical debt, strapping them down. It's so stupid. It's an investment into human capital in America that makes America great. But Republicans just want to attack immigrants, attack trans people, attack other groups they don't like because they're authoritarians. They don't care about America. They care about their America. And their America, their Western civilization, their whatever is, whatever they think, their racial purity and their ethnic and cultural purity is when Charlie Kirk talks about, oh, they're making America disgust. Well, they're poisoning the blood of America. What do they really mean? Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe.
The president is defending U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Her and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino are.
I love people blaming Pam Bondi as if Donald Trump is not the president. Like blaming Pam Bondi as if it was her decision to reverse course on the Epstein files. It was not her decision. It was Donald Trump's.
Reportedly at odds over
You
the handling
dumbasses.
of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
But they want to blame a woman. They want to blame the woman. I guarantee you that's the entire goal.
Now with the details on that story. Hey, Chanley.
Hey, Kevin, Rachel, and Charlie. So the president is stepping in to defend his Attorney General Pam Bondi as doing, quote, a fantastic job after she came under fire from some Trump supporters over the Department of Justice's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The president posting this in part, quote, 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about.
Did you see we had the biggest exodus, the biggest loss of scientific technology and scientific talent from America in American history? A lot of scientists are leaving America because MAGA is so anti-science and so anti-technology. They're fleeing to other countries and really killing American production. Our biomedical research is really falling down, and also our cancer research and Alzheimer's research are being cut by Trump. And as someone who knows a lot of people that suffered from Alzheimer's and cancer, it's really disgusting that Trump is cutting those programs to give more tax cuts to the wealthy. You know?
President's post coming after some Trump supporters criticized Bondi or even called for her resignation after the DOJ and the FBI on Sunday released a joint two-page statement on the Epstein case that concluded there was no celebrity client list, naming those who allegedly took part in Epstein's history as a sexual predator. In February, though, Bondi had indicated that such a document was sitting on her desk. The DOJ also concluded that Epstein did commit suicide, in his New York City jail cell in 2019 while awaiting further sex trafficking charges.
What's the entire story? Does anyone in the comments know? What is the story about Epstein? Like, when it comes to the Epstein video of the prison cell, Trump was president back then, so his administration would have handled the video, the raw footage. But they said there was no tape at all, and the cameras were off. What is the story about how they got footage? I know the footage is heavily edited and doctored. We don't know how much and how fake. But what is the story about how we said for years we don't have any footage of the cell, and now we do? Like, what is their reasoning there?
Charges, yet a missing minute in the jail video that was released has only spurred conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, missing minute.
FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino reportedly clashed with Bondi over her handling of the Epstein matter last week and has told confidants that he may actually resign if Bondi remains in her post. Guys, we shall see.
Thank you, Chanley.
Thanks, Chanley.
You know, obviously there are lots and lots of questions that have been swirling about Jeffrey Epstein for.
Someone said it's a different camera. I was under the impression that when we were saying, is there a video? And they said there is no video, the cameras are off. I was under the impression that there were no cameras on because I feel like when you say, is there a video of it? That means any camera that means any video of it. That could be any camera. What do you mean it's a different camera?
A long time.
Are you sure it's not artificial intelligence making up a fake video?
For over 10 years, and the government's involvement in it. If there's anybody who could walk in and say, okay, we've resolved all of the questions and there is nothing here, it would be President Trump and his crew. The problem is you can't really do it without giving some explanation, and there has to be some explanation, and I think that's why.
Well, Trump said the explanation was that Democrats ended up actually making it. Democrats were the reason that there's Epstein files. Obama and Hillary made the Epstein file.